Why, hello and welcome everybody. Also, good morning. So today I wanted to go ahead and talk all about the Atlas in Path of Exile 2, getting started, how to progress it, some tips for progression, etc. I get a lot of questions about this on my Twitch chat. So let's get started. Once you have completed the campaign 2 times, so you've done it in normal and then you do it in cruel, so you finish Act 3 for the 2nd time, you will have this massive, crazy system called the Atlas. And everyone's Atlas is going to look different, and yours is going to start pretty much right here at this thing. It doesn't really matter too much on which way you branch out. If you look in the distance, you should be able to see this burning tower thing. It's a good idea to just go to it to have it unlocked because it's part of quest progression, but I don't really think it's important right now. So let's talk about some things that are important, such as getting your Atlas points. Your Atlas points would be these right here. So currently, I'm not finished with my Atlas yet. We're up to T14 maps. Hasn't really been a problem. It's just because I went between 2 different characters. So we have the 87 Blood Mage and then the 85 Warbringer right now. So how do you get started? The first thing is, once you start, you can actually come to Doriani and you can buy some Waystones. These are your maps, just like Path of Exile. Your maps are broken down from tier 1 all the way to, I believe, tier 15. This is also signified by white maps, yellow maps, and red maps. White maps will be tier 1 through tier 5. Yellow will be tier 6 through, I think, tier 10, and then red will be 11 to 15. This is important because I believe when you hit this breakpoint of white, yellow, and red, the modifiers on the maps go up, along with the amount of drops in general you get are also going to go up. Although technically, for each map tier, you're going to be getting better drops in general. However, the higher the map tier, the more the resistance penalty, I believe, kicks in. So as you go into higher tier maps, you actually lose more character resistance, which is a pain in the ass right now in the early access. So I'm going to go ahead and run through a quick map and show an example. There are also towers that we will talk about shortly, or I guess I could talk about them right now. Towers are these things that you encounter. Now, the way towers work is towers are essentially something that you will find as you navigate. So you can see, for example, here, I pathed my way just like this, right? Came across and then went to my tower. When you run the tower, there's 2 things you can do. A, you can put a map in to run that you need for map completion, or you can just put a low-level map in. And the reason for putting a low-level map is the tower always has a fixed layout and doesn't really contain that many monsters. So for people who are lacking their higher tier maps, you want to put lower tier maps in. After you have completed it, you can put in a tablet. Tablets come from generic killing of monsters. If you do a league mechanics have these little icons on them. These tablets can drop from the respected league mechanic. So this, for example, is ritual, meaning the mobs in the ritual can drop a ritual tablet. In this instance, we have done breach, which is this icon. So TLDR, you start mapping. Your goal is to do the maps on the right here. So you want to complete your tier 1 maps so that you can get your Atlas points. You put your Atlas points in however you would like. Here's an example of mine. I decided to come up here for local knowledge along with getting increased monster packs. Then I went down and grabbed like magic monsters. This is what I chose. There's a lot of different ways to navigate it. Then with these points, you're going to want to do higher tier maps. And when you're strong enough, you want to jump in and start putting in league mechanics. So here is an example. I'm going to go ahead and put this tablet on. What this is going to do is, if you look at this tower, there's actually an AoE around it. I don't know why I can't see it yet. It might only activate when I hit influence. When I hit influence, just watch what happens. You see this? Ping, 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 ping. So now we just added breaches to a map. And this is where I notice a lot of your items come from in the game in general. Simply running a map by itself does not really yield that much reward. However, running a map with a league mechanic can reward a lot more. Furthermore, we have bosses. Bosses are these icons right here. The reasoning for doing a boss is, number 1, they drop a crap ton of maps. So if you're struggling for map sustain and you have bosses on your Atlas, consider running your high tier maps on your bosses. For example, I can take a screenshot from one of my buddies here as a nice prime example. He killed his boss, and I believe it was either a T15 or a T14 map. You can see he got back a T15, a T15, a T15, so that completely refunds him and sets him up for more. Bosses are very good along with league mechanics for map generation. Okay, with that being said, that's all fun and dandy. Let's go jump into a map We're going to do a simple one, nothing too long, so no league mechanics on it. We're just going to go to seepage right here. We're going to put in a map, and we're going to go run it. Now, when you're running your map, I will note there are a couple of things. Number one, there are a crap ton of on-death effects that occur in Path of Exile. It is a very good idea. Don't mind him. It is a very good idea that whenever you kill a pack of rare or a rare pack, that would be a yellow monster, you just wait a second or two and make sure you stare at your feet that there's no purple crystals. The reasoning for this is you only get one life in your maps. If you die, you don't lose it. You lose your map, but basically you can open it up again. So if I were to die, I could just run seepage again, but I need to put a new map in. Now this has a downside, and the downside is if there were any league mechanics on your map, I believe they are removed. And if it is a boss map, I believe the boss map is also removed. So you don't necessarily really want to die too much in them. If it's just a regular map, it really is not that big of a deal, for example. What can be annoying is when you're trying to go for your completion and you end up dying and you lose your higher maps, so then you have to run lower maps, but then you're not getting completion, right? So the general gist of this is I would say pick a direction and kind of hug it. So you can notice here what I'm doing is I'm picking this wall. So I'm just kind of like hugging sort of like left here, right? The reasoning for this is it kind of but it can assist in a little bit of anti-backtrack, so you don't have to run all the way back here, right? You kind of clear a section at a time and you kind of stick to it. Unfortunately, some maps just have really bad layouts. So speaking of backtracking, the reason I bring this up is for you to complete this map, you need to kill all of the rare monsters. I have not even encountered a single rare monster yet, right? So this is just an example of stuff that can happen, right? After you have cleared a certain amount of monsters on the map, I think when there's 200 mobs remaining or something, the rare monsters that are remaining will highlight on your map. Now, this is why you want to make sure you are clearing one section properly, because I know that there are no rares on this side of the map because I have killed them if they were to have spawned, right? So I'm just going to pick through right over here, kill this, and I'm just going to come back up here, for example, right? Another thing is, if you have a league mechanic on your map, this part kind of sucks, and I do want them to change this. It is advisable to not do the league mechanic unless you are very confident. And the reason why is if, say, I encounter a ritual right here, and I start doing the ritual, all you need to know is if I die, I don't get my map completion because I have not completed my map yet. So the current state of the game, it would be ideal to essentially complete your map, then backtrack to do your objectives. So that way, even if you fail, right, you still get the map completion and you can move on. So here's an example of a rare, right? That rare has died. Nothing over there. Let's go this way. Let me get back. Make sure there's no random effects going on. Guys just conjure flame wall, so I should be fine. Actually, right there, map completed. Now, when you have a map completed, you do not have to finish clearing the whole map. I got lucky there that they were all in like good spots. The only reason I would say you want to complete your map now, like keep clearing, are 2 instances. 3 instances. Number 1, your map is very juicy. You have it rare and it has a lot of good mods on it because of your towers, right? Because you can have overlapping tower effects. Number 2, there's a league mechanic inside your map that you want to do, such as like breach. The league mechanics are very, very, very juicy and can end up yielding more than the map itself sometimes, right? And number 3, I don't actually know if there's a number 3. I think I may have derped there. So basically, if you want to get your sorry, number 3 would be if you are starving for map sustain, right? Because you see there I dropped like a T10 map. So maybe you don't have a lot of maps. There's no harm in clearing your map. There's another T10 map, for example, right? There's no harm in clearing your map. There's a tier 9. So you can get more map sustain out of it, right? But remember, if you're trying to get map sustain, remember to put your higher level maps on your tower or on your league mechanics, and make sure to try to put them on your bosses as well, as these will yield much, much, much more map sustain than simply running a blank map, right? All right, that should pretty much help with getting started. I really like Breach. I'm a big Breach advocate. I will tell you, Breach and Ritual are extremely rippy. Essence is a lot more manageable and I think stable currency. Essence is just basically has a monster, you kill it, it drops the loot, and then you can go sell it or use it to craft. So let me know in the comments below if this helped you guys out. You know, feel free to go explore. One of the nice things as well is if you look at the top here, there is a legend, and you can actually click the legend. I probably should have said this at the beginning, so you can kind of see everything, right? So you can see map node, right? I think this is where we started, right? Map node accessible, so blue is where you can go. Green means we've completed it. Red means you failed. I didn't even know that. Map node corrupted. There's a whole bunch of stuff you can kind of see here. And then here are the league mechanic stuff I was talking about. So map boss icon, irradiated, which basically is a tablet for +1. Breach, delirium, expedition, ritual. You get it, right? Anyway, that's pretty much about it. If you guys liked the video, please feel free to like, share, and subscribe. And don't forget to catch me streaming live every day at twitch.tv/Pohx. Take care, and thanks for watching, everybody.